Hello and welcome to today's live session. Hello and welcome. If you can hear me, please let me know in the chat box. Hello and welcome to today's live session where we'll be talking about bipolar disorder. Yeah, my name is Diana and I'm here to debunk the myths and then share the real deal about bipolar disorder. And the knowledge I'll be sharing in this video could change your perspective about this mental health condition forever. Yeah. Please, as you join us, kindly click on the like button um, while we see if there'll be any more people joining us. Thank you. I hope you can hear me. Hello and welcome to today's live. Please, as you join us, can you kindly click on the like button? Thank you. I think we'll just give it about 5-10 minutes and then we'll make a start. Let's see if we can get more people to join in. Hello, hello, and welcome. In today's live session, we'll be talking about bipolar disorder. I'm sure you must have heard bipolar disorder. There's so many myths surrounding this mental health condition, and I'm hoping that at the end of this live stream, I'll be able to debunk some of those myths and then let you know the truth behind them. Please, as you join us, kindly click on the like button. Thank you so much. You can also say hello in the chat box. I just want to give it about 10 minutes before we make a start. Let's see if we'll get more people to join us. Yeah, I think we can make a start. Um, but before we start, if you join in much later, please make sure that as you join in, you click on the like button. Thank you so much for your support. So, you must have seen the topic, and like you've heard me say, we're talking about bipolar disorder today. And this is an important topic that affects millions of people worldwide. And whether you or someone you know has been diagnosed with bipolar disorder, or you're just here to learn more about bipolar disorder, I promise you that you will leave this live video with a clearer understanding of what bipolar disorder really is, how it affects people, and the best ways that we can support those that live with this condition. Now, before we start, let me ask, um, did you know that bipolar disorder affects approximately 45 million people worldwide? That's a staggering number, isn't it? Um, and that's nearly the population of a whole country, countries like Spain or Colombia. That's a huge statistic. But yet, despite how prevalent bipolar disorder is, there's still so much stigma, discrimination and misinformation around this condition. So I'm hoping that this video will help clear that up. So please stick around till the end, because I think that by the end of today's session, you'll be able to separate what's true from what's false. So you'll be able to separate the myths from the facts, and then you'll be able to understand how you can become part of the solution. So as we start for the first segment, let's consider the basics. So what is bipolar disorder? What exactly is bipolar disorder? Now, bipolar disorder is a mental health condition that causes extreme mood swings. Um, these mood swings include emotional highs, which are known as mania or hypomania, and emotional lows, which we commonly refer to as depression. Now, these shifts in mood, shifts in energy, or shifts in activity levels can drastically affect a person's ability to function from day to day. Um, to explain mania in simpler terms, um, extreme periods of mood swings, high energy, and increased activity, and these can last for up to a week or more. Um, Another definition of mania is a state of mind characterized by high energy, excitement, and euphoria that occurs over a sustained period of time. So, obviously, what these shifts in mood and energy and activity levels do is that they drastically affect a person's ability to function from day to day. So, what are the types of bipolar disorder? Um, According to research, there are actually four major types of bipolar disorder. We've got bipolar 1 disorder. Um, so what this type is that it's characterized by at least one manic episode that lasts at least 7 days or is severe enough to require hospitalization. Now, people with bipolar 1 can also experience depressive episodes. But what distinguishes this type of bipolar disorder are the manic episodes. So it's characterized by manic episodes. That's what distinguishes it from other types of bipolar disorder. We've got bipolar 2 disorder. Now, while this type involves both depressive episodes and manic episodes, the manic episodes or hypermania, they tend to be less intense than those in bipolar 1. However, in this case, the depressive episodes can be just as severe. So that is the second type of bipolar disorder. The third one is cyclothymic disorder or cyclothymia. Now, people with this type of bipolar disorder, cyclothymia, they experience periods of hypomanic symptoms and depressive symptoms for at least 2 years. However, here, the symptoms don't meet the diagnostic criteria for a full manic or a full depressive episode. And then the fourth type of bipolar disorder, they are characterized under a category of other specified and unspecified bipolar and related disorders. Now, this is a catch term or a catch-all for all the conditions that have symptoms of bipolar disorder, but don't exactly fit into the other categories. That is bipolar 1 disorder, bipolar 2 disorder, and cyclothymic disorder or cyclothymia. Now, what I want you to note is that bipolar disorder is a lifelong condition. there is no cure, but it's treatable, it's manageable, and people with bipolar disorder can live fulfilling and productive lives. Now, moving on, I know that I've given you a bit of statistics on bipolar disorder, but let's look at some more statistics and the worldwide prevalence of bipolar disorder. So, now that we've laid the groundwork for what bipolar disorder is, the types of bipolar disorder, and the fact that it's a lifelong condition, let's talk numbers. Now, the World Health Organization have stated that bipolar disorder affects about 1 to 3% of the global population. I mentioned that that's over 45 million people worldwide. But what's really concerning about these statistics is that bipolar disorder is often either underdiagnosed or misdiagnosed, especially in low income countries where access to mental health care is limited, or in low income countries where due to stigma or discrimination, mental health isn't really a topic that is talked about as it should be. Um, the geographical distribution of bipolar disorder, according to the World Health Organization, states that for the United States, roughly 2.8% of adults have been diagnosed with bipolar disorder, and it is ranked as one of the top causes of disability in the country. In Europe, countries like Switzerland, Germany, and Italy have some of the highest prevalence rates. But again, many cases go undetected. So a lot of cases are not even diagnosed. So these figures we have are just for the ones that are diagnosed. Now, in developing countries, because of the scarcity of mental health resources, there is a significant level of underreporting of bipolar disorder. So there are no specific statistics, but it's been noted that there's significant underreporting in developing regions. Now, despite these statistics, many people feel ashamed to talk about their diagnosis. And I think it's not just about bipolar disorder, it's about every other mental health condition. I think because of the stigma or fear of discrimination and all of that, a lot of people feel ashamed to talk about any mental health diagnosis, not just bipolar disorder. So, this is why mental health awareness is so important. And this is one of the reasons why I started this YouTube channel to create mental health awareness. By sharing our stories, by talking about mental health and learning more, we can break the stigma that surrounds not just bipolar disorder but other mental health conditions. Now, next, let's talk about the symptoms of bipolar disorder. So, what are the signs and symptoms that you should know? Um, Bipolar disorder presents itself through episodes of mania. That's the most common symptom: mania, hypomania, and depression. I'm going to give a breakdown of what these states mean. So, for mania, it's an abnormally elevated mood, um, inflated self-esteem or grandiosity. So people with bipolar disorder would often present with grandiose delusions. So I can give you an example. Let's say somebody, feeling like he or she is a celebrity. Um, Somebody feeling like maybe he or she is the king, or queen, as the case may be, of a nation or of a country or a community. Um, Somebody feeling that they're excessively rich. Some grandiose. That's why they are called grandiose delusions. So they have this inflated sense of self, inflated self-esteem, and grandiosity. Another way it presents itself is decreased need for sleep. So they're often so active, lots of energy, and um, there's a decreased need for sleep. Another way is racing thoughts. Um, Another very common one is risky behaviors such as impulsive spending. I've seen that a lot. Impulsive spending, substance abuse, reckless driving. And then sometimes mania can also involve psychotic symptoms such as hallucinations or delusions. We've talked about delusions before. Um, another sign or symptom of bipolar disorder is hypomania. So this is similar to mania, but it's less severe. The person might feel more energetic, more creative, more productive, but they still remain very functional. Um, Another sign and symptom is depressive episodes. So depressive episodes could present as prolonged feelings of sadness or hopelessness. It can present as fatigue or loss of energy. It can present as difficulty concentrating. It can also present as changes in appetite or sleep patterns. It can also present in negative thoughts, so thoughts of harming themselves. Now, it is important to note at this point that if you or someone you know is exhibiting any of these signs, it is essential to seek professional help. Seeking professional help is very important. It cannot be overemphasized. Seek professional help if you or someone you know is struggling with their mental health. It doesn't have to be just bipolar disorder, any form of mental health condition at all. Please, it's essential to seek professional help. Um, Now that you've learned about what bipolar disorder is, we've talked about the types, we've talked about how prevalent bipolar disorder is, how common it is globally, the signs and symptoms you should know. I think it's fitting that we dive into how to approach and manage bipolar disorder. What have noted here is that managing bipolar disorder requires a holistic approach. So, a holistic approach is an approach that takes into cognizance the whole of the individual, not just one aspect of the condition. It takes cognizance of the whole. And one of those ways is through professional treatment, which I've mentioned before. Now, for professional treatment, people with bipolar disorder can be treated using medication. So, medications such as mood stabilizers, antipsychotics, and sometimes antidepressants are commonly prescribed. Now, it is crucial that people with bipolar disorder work closely with a psychiatrist to find the right balance of medication that is for them. Another way you can treat bipolar disorder professionally is through therapy. So, cognitive behavioral therapy, CBT, is one of them. Family focused therapy is another one. And what these can do is that they can help individuals understand their symptoms. It can help them to build coping mechanisms, and it can also help them to improve their relationships. Um, Another way that we can manage um, or approach bipolar disorder is through lifestyle management. So, for lifestyle management, The first and most important one is routine. So, trying to maintain a regular sleep schedule, trying to eat balanced meals, and exercising. This can significantly help stabilize moods. Another way that we can support people with bipolar disorder is through a supportive system. So, having supportive friends and family, or even joining support groups of individuals who probably have the same condition, can make a world of difference. Um, Another way that lifestyle management can help with bipolar disorder is through mindfulness and stress reduction. So, practices like meditation, practices like yoga, practices like journaling, these can help manage stress. There's those stresses that can trigger the mood episodes. Um, Lastly, and most importantly, education. So, understanding bipolar disorder as a condition is empowering. For those who are diagnosed with bipolar disorder and also their loved ones, I think educating themselves about bipolar disorder can reduce feelings of helplessness, and it can also enhance empathy um, about the condition, obviously. Um, Now, let's look at several common myths surrounding bipolar disorder and the truth behind them. In this video, I'm going to be sharing about 10 of those common myths surrounding bipolar disorder. So there are several myths, not limited to these 10, and these myths surrounding bipolar disorder contribute to misunderstanding the condition, and it also contributes to stigma. So, some of the common myths and the truths behind them. The very first one I'll be sharing is that people with bipolar disorder are just moody. Now, the truth is, bipolar disorder is not simply about mood swings. So, it involves extreme changes in mood, it involves extreme changes in energy and activity levels, and these activity levels are far more intense. These extreme changes in mood, sorry, energy and activity levels, they are far more intense than regular moodiness. So, what these mood shifts do, the mania, hypomania, and depression in bipolar disorder, they last for days, weeks, or even months, and often require treatment to manage. The second myth is that bipolar disorder is rare. Um, this is very far from the truth. The truth is that bipolar disorder is more common than many realize. Like I mentioned earlier, it affects around 1 to 3% of the global population. And I also mentioned that that was about 45 million people globally. And I also mentioned that in the US, roughly 2.8% of adults experience bipolar disorder. Now, many cases go undiagnosed. For example, we did say that in developing countries, a lot of cases are there's lots of underreporting, a lot of cases go underreported. So what these underreporting causes is that it contributes to the belief that it's rare, when in actual fact is more common than we think. The third myth is that people with bipolar disorder are always either manic or depressed. Um, the truth here is that bipolar disorder involves shifts between mood states. So, extremely high or extremely low. But people can also experience periods of stability or normal between episodes. So they can have normal moods between episodes, but these symptom free periods may also last days, months, or even years with proper treatment. The fourth myth I'm going to share with you is that Mania is always productive or enjoyable. Um, while some people in a manic state may feel euphoric or energized, mania can also lead to reckless, impulsive behaviors and poor decision making. Um, in very extreme cases, it can involve irritability, it can involve agitation, or even psychosis. So what this means is that it's a dangerous state. It makes it a very dangerous state to be left in if untreated. The fifth myth I'll be sharing with you is that only adults can have bipolar disorder. This is incorrect because bipolar disorder can affect children, it can affect teenagers, and it can affect adults as well. Now, symptoms can often emerge in late adolescence or early adulthood for children, but some people may show signs in childhood. So, diagnosing bipolar disorder in young people can be challenging because their mood shifts are often dismissed as normal developmental challenges. So that's why it's a bit challenging to diagnose it in children and young people. However, bipolar disorder does affect children, it does affect teens, and not just adults. Um, the sixth myth is that bipolar disorder is the same for everyone. No. Um, Bipolar disorder varies widely from person to person. So, like I mentioned in the earlier part of this video, there are different types. There's bipolar 1 disorder, there's bipolar 2 disorder, there's cyclothymia, and then the last class of bipolar disorder. And individuals experience different intensities of manic episodes, different intensities of depressive episodes. So, because of that, no two cases are exactly alike. And so, treatment needs to be personalized to each individual. So, treatment needs to be tailored to every specific individual based on their symptoms and how they present. The seventh myth I'll be sharing with you about bipolar disorder is that people with bipolar disorder can't lead productive lives. Um, this is very far from the truth because with the right treatment and support, people with bipolar disorder can lead full lives, successful lives, productive lives. Many well known individuals, including celebrities, artists, scientists, business people, have had bipolar disorder and have made significant contributions to society. So, yes, people with bipolar disorder can actually lead productive lives. Um, Thank you so much for joining us. If you're just joining, please click on the like button. We're talking about bipolar disorder, what you need to know, debunking some of the very common myths about bipolar disorder. And then we're also talking about how to approach and manage bipolar disorder in this live stream. So please, if you're joining us, click on the like button and thank you so much for joining. So I'm going to be continuing with the myths. The eighth one is that bipolar disorder is caused by personal weakness or a lack of willpower. This is a very common myth, similar to the myths generally about mental health. So, a lot of people feel like people who have mental health conditions lack resilience. So, it means that they are not strong, they don't have willpower, but this is not the case. Bipolar disorder, just as with other mental health conditions, is a medical condition. It has a complex set of causes, which could include genetic, biological and environmental factors. So, like I always say, if you've watched the video where I debunked some common mental health myths, I said it is not something that people can simply snap out of. So you can't just tell people to snap out of that. And it's not also something that they can control through willpower alone. Treatment for bipolar disorder often involves medication, it involves therapy, and also lifestyle management. Um, Another myth about bipolar disorder is that it only affects mood. So bipolar disorder only affects mood. Um, Bipolar disorder doesn't only affect mood, it also impacts your thinking. So it impacts the thinking, the decision making, the concentration, it impacts energy levels, it impacts sleep patterns of those who are living with this condition. And during manic or depressive episodes, people with bipolar disorder may also experience cognitive difficulties, and this can lead to challenges in daily life. So it's not just about mood now. It actually affects their day-to-day life, their thinking, their decision making, concentration levels, energy, sleep, and all of that. So that myth is incorrect. It actually doesn't affect only their moods. And finally, the last myth I'll be sharing in this video is that um, medication is the only treatment for mental health and for bipolar disorder. So, if you listen to when I said earlier, yes, I did say medication was important in treating bipolar disorder, but I also mentioned other things that can be used to approach and manage this disorder. So, while medication is often a critical part of managing bipolar disorder, it is not the only treatment. We mentioned therapy, such as cognitive behavioral therapy. We mentioned family focused therapy. We mentioned lifestyle changes, such as regular sleep, exercise. We talked about mindfulness and meditation practices like yoga. We talked about stress management. We also talked about a strong support system, and all of these are equally important components of managing the condition. So it's not just about using medication. Medication is not the only treatment for bipolar disorder. Now, I've brought up these myths because breaking these myths can help reduce stigma, it can help reduce discrimination against people who are living with bipolar disorder. And it can also help to promote a better understanding of bipolar disorder. So, if you've got any questions at this point, please pop them in the live stream, in the chat box for me, and I'll see if I can answer them before we round up this live stream. Oh, so now that you know the truth behind these myths, how then do we break the stigma and spread awareness about bipolar disorder? Now, this is where you come in. Um, One of the biggest challenges people with bipolar disorder face is the stigma attached to their diagnosis. And this is not just for bipolar disorder, it's for every mental health condition. Um, Stigma is still a big challenge. Discrimination is still a big challenge. And because of this, a lot of people suffer in silence or decide not to seek treatment, which only makes their condition worse. But we, you and I, can change that by having conversations like this, by sharing our stories or stories of others that we know, and educating those around us, we can dismantle the misconceptions surrounding bipolar disorder and other mental health conditions. So I'm just going to look in the chat box now. Hi, Ifoma in DBC. Ifoma says, well done. Thank you, Ifoma. Thank you for joining. Um, if you've got any questions, please pop it in the chat box for me, and I will try to respond as soon as I can. Um, if the live is over and you're watching the replay and you've got any questions, please also put it in the comments and I would respond as soon as I see it. Thank you so much. So as we prepare to round off this session, I'm going to try to do a bit of a summary about what we've talked about bipolar disorder. So what we tried to do in this video was to delve into the truth about bipolar disorder, try to provide you with everything you need to know about this condition. Um, we talked about what bipolar disorder is. We talked about the different types of bipolar disorder, 4 of them. We talked about the symptoms, the signs and the symptoms. And then we talked about how we can approach and manage bipolar disorder. We also mentioned some statistics to let us know how common bipolar disorder is, even though in some parts of the world it is underreported. It's generally underreported and underdiagnosed, yet it's still a very common mental health condition. We talked about how bipolar disorder is characterized by extreme mood swings, so extreme emotional highs, which are like mania and hypomania, and emotional lows like depression. We talked about how these mood shifts can be challenging to deal with and how they can significantly impact an individual's life. Um, the challenge with living with bipolar disorder is that from the highs of mania, where people may feel very euphoric and full of energy, to the lows of depression, where they may struggle with feelings of sadness and hopelessness. Navigating these mood swings can be quite overwhelming. So it is crucial for us to understand the symptoms and the challenges faced by individuals with bipolar disorder to be able to provide them with the support that they need. Um, while we haven't really talked about the exact cause of bipolar disorder because it's not fully understood based on research, but research suggests that factors such as genetics, brain structure, and environment may play a role. And the impact of this condition extends beyond just the individual because it can affect their relationships, it can affect work, and it can affect their daily functioning. Now, I'm going to give you a bit of a scenario. Just imagine waking up one day feeling on top of the world, and then you spiral into a deep depression the next day. And that is basically what bipolar disorder is about. These mood swings can be exhausting, they can be isolating, and they make it challenging to maintain stability in everyday life. So, as individuals, it is essential that we offer compassion and support to those who are facing this uphill battle. Um, I want to encourage us to approach bipolar disorder as well as other mental health conditions with empathy, with understanding, and with awareness by educating ourselves and others about this condition. And we can help reduce stigma. We can help provide a supportive environment for those affected by bipolar disorder. Remember that I said that seeking proper treatment and support is key to managing this complex mental health condition. Um, at this point, I want to encourage you, if you've got your own experiences with mental health, to please reach out for help if needed. Um, and also to join me in spreading awareness about bipolar disorder. How can you do that? You can share this live stream with people that you feel might benefit from it. Because when you do that, we're going to be creating a more inclusive and supportive community for individuals who are living with mental health conditions. Um, so that is that is it, I think. Before I conclude, I'm going to see what we have in the chat. If you've got any questions, like I said, please pop them in the chat box. Please pop them in the chat box and we'll try to answer them as we can. I want to make this conversation as interactive as possible because your voice matters. So feel free to ask any questions you may have about bipolar disorder. So whether it's about the symptoms, whether it's about treatment, or anything that you've just always been curious about. If you've had any personal experiences with bipolar disorder, either for yourself or through someone you know, if you feel comfortable, please drop a comment and share your story. If it's not your story, if you've got the consent of whoever's story it is, you can also share it as well. Um, the aim is for us to create a space where we can learn from each other, where we can support one another, and where we can help spread awareness. So please, no question is too small and no experience is too personal. As long as you feel comfortable, or like I said, if it's not your story, if you've got the consent of the individual concerned, yeah, you can share. Your engagement will help break the stigma and it will help bring more understanding to this important topic. So please, let's get the conversation going. Thank you very much. While I wait for any questions that you might have, I want to thank you for joining me today. I want to thank you for your support on the channel. Yeah, we are over 1,000 members strong, 1,000 subscribers strong on this community. And I just want to say thank you to each and every one of you for engaging with the videos, for liking, for sharing, for your comments. I appreciate every single one of you. I do not take the support for granted at all. Thank you so much. Your support means the world to me and it encourages me to keep showing up every day and giving out value, making valuable content, coming on here to share the knowledge that I have. And also, I get to learn from you. So keep putting down, sharing your thoughts. Please keep putting down your comments. I read them, I respond to all of them, and I appreciate every single one of them. Thank you once again for joining me today. Remember that if you or someone you know is dealing with a mental health condition, you're not alone. If you or someone you know is struggling with bipolar disorder, you are not alone. Please, please, and please reach out to a mental health professional. Don't be afraid to ask for help. Actually, asking for help is a sign of strength. Let's keep this conversation going. Let's share this to our communities, to our friends, to our groups, people who will get value from this information, who will benefit from it. And let's keep the conversation going. If you've got any questions or comments, please leave them in the chat box. Thank you, and thank you again. I'm going to end this live stream in a few minutes. I'm just checking to see if I've got any questions. None so far. Please don't forget, if you watch the live stream, the replay rather, and you've got any questions or any thoughts or any comments you'd love to share, please let's get the conversation going. Pop it in the comments. I will respond as soon as I can. Um, thank you again. There's no comment, no question rather. Thank you again for joining me today. I'll try to come live more frequently. And like I said, let's keep the conversation going. Let's help to spread awareness and break the stigma surrounding mental health. Until next time, stay safe, stay kind, and let's keep breaking the stigma together. Thank you so much again, and I'll see you in the next live stream. Take care.